Hi, sorry.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just before we get started, you probably already know it's on the form and everything. We do record our consultations and all lessons, so just heads up on that.
Okay.
Um, but go ahead and fill me in on a little pepper.
Yeah. So she's 9 months, and was debating about like when to start this. But definitely some things I've noticed more recently. I'd say in general, like most of kind of the obedience training I've done with her, like she's picked up everything pretty quickly. Like I do think she's a pretty smart dog. But definitely having some struggles with on-leash walking. She's definitely been, I really tried to do a lot of socialization with her when she was a puppy, but I've really been noticing she's pretty skittish. Um, and so, like, for example, when I'm trying to leave my apartment to walk her, she does not want to leave the block. But once we get past it, or if I drive somewhere and then walk, she's good. Like she loves walking. So I think there's like something about leaving home, which I guess, heard is kind of common. So she'll do like the like pancake arms, like won't budge. I think part of that too is we do have the train near us and she's like very scared of the train, so she doesn't want to walk towards the train. Um, she knows how to heel, but it's like very food motivated. Like I have to have a treat in hand. And then she's kind of like locked in on me, but then gets, does the zigzagging, wants to smell everything. So that's a big part of it. And then for off leash, so we do have a dog park near us that's mostly enclosed except for a small part. Um, it's like an unofficial dog park. She used to be great, like with recall in general, like she does come to me when she's called, but if she gets spooked by something, she will take off. And so I've had a couple scary incidences where she's tried to leave the park. So I've like stopped doing that, only on leash walking or enclosed dog parks. But I mean, I'd love to get to a place too where I do feel like I can do something like that. Or if there's a situation where I need to get her attention, like to do so. So that's another one. And then aside from like kind of getting exercise outside when at home, she still does like these excited pees. And I feel like I've tried to do a lot of the like whenever it's people come inside the house, like visitors, or like I live with my sister. Like when she comes home, she gets really excited. If she's been gone, she'll do the excited pees. And we'll still jump up on people. And then she kind of has been doing this like attention seeking barking too. And I think has like some separation anxiety because she'll like howl when I leave. Like if I leave her in the car for like 5 minutes to grab something inside, like she's like whining for me. So like things like that. I know that was a lot.
All right. It's all. I need to know these things.
Yes,
Uh,
totally.
um, Anything else?
Um, I'm looking at my list. I do think like she like when greeting people, so it's like either if she knows them, it's the excited or scared peas, but she's also just like pretty skittish and like shy of people at first. And even like if they'll be in the apartment, she'll still like kind of be barking at them. I feel like she's gotten more protective where she's been barking a lot, even like, I live in an apartment building. If she hears doors out apart like other apartments, she starts barking. So she's been barking a lot more, and just needing like a lot of attention. Even if I've walked her, I fed her, she's like trying to jump up on me while working, like constantly needing attention. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it sounds like she's just like very fearful
Mm-hmm.
and like not confident. And it's nothing like nothing has happened to her as far as what I've heard. Like nothing like, it wasn't like, well, she got attacked by an off-leash dog and now she's scared of dogs. Like it wasn't that. It was just, this is all just Pepper. Like this is just like her personality, it's her genetics.
Yeah.
So just getting like, her stress response to certain things has always been flight, run for your life. That's what it has been, it sounds like. And then the excitement P, is it just, trying to think. So to kind of fix that is, how old is she? She's 8 months, you said, right?
9 months now.
9 months.
Yeah.
Usually that stuff will go away. If not, it just depends, playing it by ear. Like, maybe tell your guest, is it like the guest walks in and she just goes, or is it like when they interact?
It's usually someone she knows too, like she'll get excited about. It's not usually a stranger. When I've tried to like have them not react. It definitely is worse when they're like, Pepper, oh my God,
Yeah.
like trying to greet her. Yeah.
I would just do what you're doing, is just don't acknowledge her until she is settled, and then you can go say hi.
Yeah.
Because it should be like kind of going away as she gets older with that.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't really see that many older dogs doing it. It's just mostly like the young puppies, or like the little under a year, they're still doing it a little bit.
Okay.
What else? And
Oh yeah, another thing I mentioned, I got her when she was 2 months, and she was still with her mom and her litter mates. She was a rescue, but like they were in a foster home too, so she really hasn't had, at least to my knowledge, like any sort of like trauma or anything. Like and I haven't experienced really anything. Like the only thing scary has been when she's like ran out of the park trying to go home, but like she hasn't been attacked or anything.
Yeah, it sounds like it's all genetics, because like we'll hear like the clients say, she was at a shelter, she was I don't know if she was abused or something. I don't know why she's like this. It's not always that, because some dogs they can bounce back really fast and they can recover from things, and that's because of their genetics. So something could have happened, but it's like within those 2 months, how is she afraid of like everything? It's just usually like a one thing that's like kind of that sticks, but it's usually, now it's everything. So it's definitely genetics, and what's needed for her is just we need to like boost her confidence. And the walks is like the easiest and most important way to do that. So kind of what you said, like if we walk a certain point on my block and I keep walking, we're fine. So it's just kind of repeating that in a similar way. But that's the correct answer for now, is just continue walking. And then what else? And then in the home, it sounds like she's just fearful in that scenario as well. She's uncomfortable with people entering the home. Now, if she knows a person, is she still barking at them?
Sometimes. I think only typically if she, like, it's kind of weird. Like even my sister, she'll be like in the other room and it's like almost like she forgets she's here and will come back out and she'll like get startled and like bark, but she knows her and she continues to bark once she's seen her. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. So fearful and nervous. So nervousness is it's like maybe you've experienced it. You're going for a walk and then someone says, "Hey, cute dog," and then she blows up. Maybe she starts barking, or you have a guest come over and then she's barking, and then once your guest settles on and everything settles, she'll settle. But then maybe your guest like stands up or like says something, or like everyone starts laughing, she'll start getting more like maybe vocal about that scenario. Same thing if someone's in the house and they appear out of nowhere, is because what they're thinking is, no one told you to say that, no one told you to come out that room, I didn't tell you you can do these things, why are you doing them? So it's just that the picture changed. So when the picture changes, dogs, they have a hard time acclimating to that instant picture change. So then they need to react, and they're kind of stuck. They're stuck in that cycle of why did that happen? But what needs to happen is you telling her, don't worry about it, kind of do your own thing, to kind of settle her there. So that's like a more of a play it by ear type thing once we start training and everything.
Okay.
And then, so that's what I'm getting from Pepper. What else? I can't fix her ears, by the way. I'm just kidding. Trying to think if there's anything else. Okay, and then what do you walk around currently? Like is it a harness?
Harness, a front grip harness. Yeah.
That could all. Well, before I get into it, do you have any other questions, or is there anything else I need to know?
I don't think so. I'm just looking at my notes. I guess things like, even like the train too, like what's the best way to, like I typically like have her stop and like wait for the train to go by, and then she'll keep walking with me usually, but like sometimes she just doesn't even want to walk in the direction of the train.
Yeah, we'll get into that and how to overcome the train, when she hears noises, she wants to run away, the walking, when because it's more than just moving forward, there's more to it, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Anything else?
No, I think like the only other reaction, I think in general, like when we're out of the house, I guess now I'm thinking about it, like she's less vocal. She more is like the skittish reaction where she won't want to go near people if she's scared. And she like, it's kind of funny, her like fur on her back will go up. Yeah, she does that a lot. Sometimes she'll like, for example, I took her to get groomed today, and like a woman came from around the like aisle at Petco and she started barking at her though. So not always the case, but I feel like she in general, like at dog parks, she's great. Like she gets along with most other dogs, and I think it's because she's more submissive. Like she's not one to like fight. She'll run away, but in an enclosed space. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's for the woman in the store, it was just a surprise. And she wasn't expecting that, so that's just her first reaction because of like her, the way she is.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the harness is definitely going to go against you, because for harnesses, dogs have opposition reflex. So if you pull back, they want to pull forward. If you pull left, they go right. If you pull forward, they want to go back. So if she's trying to run away like this and you're pulling forward, it's just definitely not going to make her go for it. It might make her go back even more.
Okay.
We use harnesses like for huskies to pull sleds, and protection training for protection dogs. So we'll put the harness on, we pull and release, because then they want to go forward. When we pull back, we let them go forward for like half a second, and we pull again. So we keep repeating this, and then they're going to start to get agitated and aggressive. We let the leash go, they go and they bite the guy. So in your case, you could be doing that if she's pulling you and you try to pull her back. She wants to go more forward, but it sounds like it's more like pulling away. She's going to want to go more away than when you pull her forward there.
Yeah. Like she's behind me, like doing the pancake arms, and I'm trying to like touch her to go forward. Yeah.
It'll make things more difficult. There are other tools as well. Maybe like there's like prong collars, there's gentle ears, there's slip leashes. The prong collar it's a good step forward because now there's consequence when she gets flighty. So if you're walking and all of a sudden maybe like a car backfires, so like a big pop, and then she just starts to run away, she'll hit the prong and be like, whoa, oh, I can't run away now because I'll get this feeling. So then she has to stay there. But the issue is that it's difficult to correct these behaviors because it's very confrontational, and knowing Pepper, being confrontational with her can you can kind of overdo it with a personality like her without trying to overdo it. So like, let's say she's barking and then like, I know, like a stranger, and then like, let's say you pull on the leash, like a tug, like a leash pop. Prong collars are those spiky ones that's probably they're supposed to mimic a mother's bite or a dog's bite.
Okay.
It's physical. It's a physical tool.
Yeah.
So that's why they understand it. But in this scenario, if you're using it because she's scared of something, it doesn't really translate well because I'm scared. I see you like correcting me because I'm scared. So then she gets confused. She doesn't know what's going on because it's weird when you're confronting her like that in a way. So it becomes difficult. Prong collar, you can teach heel, stay, sit down, place, and come. But the issue is you take the leash off, you've lost all control. So maybe one day you have the prong collar on and then train goes by, she runs, she bolts. But then maybe when she hits the end of the prong collar, maybe the prong collar breaks because they can fall apart sometimes. Now you have no control anymore and then she's gone. So there are pros and cons to prong collar. The pros is just that it's just a step forward in some aspects and it's physical, it's their language. You can still teach things. The cons would be you don't have off leash reliability when there's no leash connected. And then sometimes maybe when she decides to run, she hits the prong, but she doesn't care. She wants to continue running. So it could not be enough to kind of stop behaviors, which then brings us to electronic collars. Are you familiar with electronic collars and that you train with them?
So you trained my sister's dog, Roxy. So I'm familiar with that. Yeah. If you remember her. Yeah. So yes, familiar with it.
Does she explain a little bit of it or?
A little bit, yeah. Just like also mimics like the physicality, like kind of obviously like what a mom would do kind of.
Yeah. It's physical. It's like, as Jesse likes to put it, it's electric, but it's not electricity. So it's not like flowing through the dog's body. It's like it's a TENS unit on a collar. So if you've ever been to a physical therapist or a chiropractor, they give you like stim. That same technology as e-collar.
Okay.
So again, it's physical, so it's their language. That's why they understand it very clearly. Now, the brand we use is called Dogtra.
Okay.
And Jesse's been using this brand for more than half his career, and he's tried other brands before, and they never really get the same results as this one. Dogtra has levels on it of stimulation, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 127. So think of, there are other brands out there, other models that maybe go up to 8 or 10. Think of the power outage of 10 equal to 127. We just have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's personality and like the breed. So if we're on that like 8 level e-collar, like a 10 one for Pepper, and 4, Pepper doesn't really feel it, but then 5, Pepper's yelping because it's too much, then you're stuck there. For us, if 40 is too low, 50 is too high, we can go to 45 or 42 or 43. We can be very specific to Pepper. They're waterproof. They're rechargeable. You don't need batteries. Just plug them in the wall. They last a long time. You get a mile-long range. What else? They last long. They're durable. Very simple. Very easy to use. Any questions about the e-collar itself?
Do you, in your experience, does that work well with the kind of like personality she has?
Roxy was similar, just not they're similar. So when Roxy would get stressed, she would like overcompensate, I think it was.
I feel like she's more of like a fighter and Pepper's more of a flighter.
So
but both like kind of anxious dogs. Yes.
No, we already know that Pepper's stress response is flight, right? So once we start training, we're going to see that most likely. Because no one likes being disciplined, and plus dogs' first response to this feeling is usually trying to avoid or like trying to get away from it because they don't know what it is. So that's their first response anyways. She just might be a little bit more like you said, like the pancake, like the nope,
Yeah.
I'm not moving.
Yeah.
But we've had many cases like this, where dogs don't want to move or they're just not confident. There's a really, really good video to watch. It's on our YouTube channel, and Jesse had a dog, a client, and the dog's name is Luna. It's a what is it? Like a cattle dog. I'm not sure what kind of dog it was, but it's this dog that just didn't want to come out the car and wouldn't want to move and didn't want to walk anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would think, well, if this dog is super insecure and fearful, why would shocking it make him different?
Yeah.
It works wonders. It's for ecollar, it's non-confrontational. So the dog doesn't know you're the one pressing the button. There's no leash connected to it, so there's no connection.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's like the universe, Big Brother, whatever it is you want to call it. But they think they're under the impression that they are the ones making the decision to turn off the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Roxy's like, nope, I don't want to move.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure will kick in, but then once she moves, she'll turn off the pressure. So she's like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
Oh, that bad. So what needs to happen, like for Roxy, is that every time we train something new for Roxy, she'd get super stressed.
Mm-hmm.
But the more new things we taught later in the program, when we had to teach something new, she was fine with it because she's been put under stress so many times. So she's like, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
So the thing for humans is that, like for me, I didn't really like, talking in front of a classroom and speaking. I hated it. But and then in school, like, I mean, you don't really do it that much. It's just like here and there for projects. So I didn't get that repetition. But with like the dog training stuff, I'm constantly speaking and having to speak to people. So now I'm more comfortable with it. So it's just the same thing. Like I can still be stressed, but now I can just do it super easily.
Yeah.
So the same thing for the dogs is the more we work with them, the more we teach them new things and our method with this way, the more confident they will become.
Okay.
What else? So for Pepper, I don't. It's nothing out of the ordinary for us to work with. This is here and there we'll get a case like this.
Yeah.
What else?
Wait, I have another question. So do you think so obviously the confidence, it sounds like, will help a lot. How much do you see this changing with age too?
Of age?
Yeah.
So, dogs usually are who they become in about like 6 months to like a year or like a year and a half.
Okay.
So anytime we're doing a consultation and we hear like, our puppy was so good, so great, and then all of a sudden our puppy started like protecting the mother of the owner.
Yeah.
When did this happen? 6 months. Okay. It's always 6 months. Is that when the brain changes and they become mature.
Okay.
So 6 months is also the age we prefer to train on ECOG because the brain is able to process this type of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So with age, I think this is who Pepper is right now. Like you said, like she was great in the park. She was awesome, and then all of a sudden, maybe as she grew up, her brain was starting to change, and then she knows that these things I don't like these things. She wanted to get away. So the same thing there. It's bigger catching it now because I don't know how much bigger she's going to get, but she could be bigger, and then maybe when she's pulling you, she's going to be more stronger, so it's more difficult to handle.
Yeah.
But with age, we start at 6 months for ecollar training. We've trained older dogs, like 13, 12-year-old old dogs, and they did great. Blind dogs, deaf dogs, tripods, and we've done young as 4 months old for puppies. Okay. Any other questions so far?
I don't think so, no.
So one question is when the eCard comes on, is it on all the time, or if the program's over, do I take it off, or maybe she's great, do I still need to keep it on? So the eCard is on when you need it. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go for a walk with Pepper, it's going to be on. Even after your program, it should always be on because we can't predict what's going to happen this walk. So like I said, the example is that if a car backfires or like a car crash happens, or maybe someone honks their horn, or like a motorcycle turns on you weren't expecting, or like a loud car, whatever it is, and Pepper gets thrown off, and she decides to book it, and maybe your leash slips out your hand, or like your collar breaks, or something happens where she's loose and she's running. Again, she's in flight mode. When dogs are in flight mode, they're thinking kill or be killed. So Pepper come sometimes won't be enough to make her turn around and come to you. It could be if like the training's consistent and she already knows what's going to happen after that. It could be, but it most likely won't. So you're going to need power of your remote of the collar to override the brain to force her to do the 180 and come back to you. Right now, you shouldn't always be using it, like pressing the button constantly on your walks. It should just be there for emergencies. For Jesse's dogs and my dogs, we've done all the hard work in the beginning. We press the button maybe like once a month or twice a month at the most.
That's great.
So it's just there just in case. In the home, if you're not expecting any guests and it's just you and Pepper hanging out for the night, you don't need the e-collar on then. It doesn't need to be. So again, it's on when you need it. If you're gonna have guests come over, 30 minutes prior, you would put the collar on her, address whatever that is needing to be addressed when the guests arrive. And after that, once she's settled, you can take it off, or you can keep it on if that's going to make you like more comfortable having control throughout the whole stay of the guest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I guess my question is how it like works if her response is like a scared response. Like, what is it about what is it about that like for example, if I'm gonna walk her and she does like pancake arms, I'm sure we'll get into this, but like what is it that's gonna like make her move,
So for most of our first exercise we teach our dogs is called heel. Heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. So if you take 5 steps with Pepper, she takes 5 steps. If you take 10, she takes 10. When you come to a step, she's automatically sitting with her shoulder parallel to your leg, loose leash in any environment. So we have to teach this first to let her know that the only way this goes off or goes away, the e-collar, is when you're next to me. Anything else, this is going to kick in.
Okay.
So we need to teach this first to kind of cover everything that you're having issues with on leash. Once we cover this, this takes two lessons. If we're doing, I'll get into later, but usually for in-person, it takes 2 lessons. But this is usually the first exercise we teach, because again, how e-collar works for her, how to walk, and there's another thing. Sometimes it's like iffy with these type of dogs is that since this is so important, because how strict heel is, right? She needs to be right here. Since we can make this very important to her, sometimes nothing else should matter. So like for Roxy, she had an issue with humans walking by, she would bark. We never had to address that head on, because when we taught heel, it just went away because she was more focused on this. So all that was left was like bikes, or it was like skateboards, I think.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So that was all that was left. The human part just went away on its own. So maybe for Roxy, maybe you'll see her kind of resist. We'll teach you how to work her through that with the e-collar. And then as time goes on, she's like, well, every time I resist, I get the corrected and I have to move forward. So I might as well just keep walking then. So certain things may go away with what makes her kind of flighty, but that's all just kind of playing it by ear. So teaching her heel will kind of cover everything you're having issues with on the walk. Does it make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I guess, I mean, it's helpful to know like this is all manageable, because I was just worried. I'm like, is she just like a skittish dog and is always gonna be like this,
Yeah, definitely watch Luna. Luna was way more intense. She didn't want to move. And once we got her to move, I think that's when she was getting skittish and everything. She was all over the place. Now the owner has her walking off leash and heel. So she's come a long way. So were you looking at like a one-on-one in-person, daycare and train, board and train, or is there something that you were looking at?
I mean, I was thinking one-on-one in person. I know that worked really well. Like obviously different case, but like for my sister and Roxy. But I guess what do you recommend based on what you've heard?
We always recommend in person
Okay.
because how it's like
Yeah.
how it's set up. It's all verbal instruction. We don't touch the dog. You're doing all the work.
Yeah.
Because maybe you know, because Roxy, there was one lesson where I think it was Roxy. There was a one dog where the owner was having trouble doing the exercise, so then I had to take the dog, and the
Mhm.
dog just wanted to get away from me. So now I have to correct the dog for running away and
Yeah.
then do the behavior. So it's like that doesn't need to happen if the owner already has a bond with the dog. Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I'm not going to be the one walking
Yeah.
Pepper under the trains or anything like that, right? It's going to be you.
Totally.
Um, Now, when it comes down to it, it's usually like availability. Usually, like owners like, yeah, but I don't have the time and consistency in my life to meet you Sundays, 1 p.m., 9, 12, whatever times. I don't
Yeah.
have that. Okay, we'll do the hard work and then we'll just do the follow-up lessons and keep up with the training to transfer everything to you to keep it up and teach you what she knows and how to handle certain situations.
Mhm.
So in person is great.
Yeah.
For a dog like Pepper, it depends. So we have like the 6 week program, the 9 week program, and the 12 week.
Okay.
It depends on how much control you're wanting. So if
Okay.
you're just looking for, I just want her to walk, I don't want her to run away, and I want come when called, the 6 week program would be good for you.
Okay.
Now, if you want more commands, I think Roxy did I don't remember if she did the 9 week or the 6 week.
I think they did 6 week.
Yeah, I think she did 6 weeks as well.
Oh, yeah.
The 9 week is more, I walk my dog around the block. They're not trying to run away. It's very structured. I take her to the dog park or like that park. Is it Travis Park or is it Horner or?
It's actually like on Larrabee in Old Town. It like used to be an old school, kind of by New City, if you're familiar.
I think is that like the Target right there too? The Target.
Close. Yeah, it's close to
Yeah.
there. So it's like mostly enclosed except for like one small part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
you need recall, you go home, and then for the 9 week, you also want you want her to like lay down on your side at a patio and not move for 2 hours.
Mhm.
The 12 week program is all those things, and then you go like hiking every other weekend, and you need to be off leash trained. You need all these like fancy commands and those scenarios.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it just depends on how much control you're wanting. And we have a 3 week program as well, but
Mhm.
I think the 6 week would be good for you and Pepper.
Yeah.
What else? Any questions about the programs or those programs?
Um, and it's in terms of like available, it's every week, like consistently for 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's an
Six.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour once a week. We have done like we can. I've done. We squished a 6 week program into 4 weeks before.
Okay.
So we're kind of flexible. We work with your availability.
Okay.
On our calendar, you get those slots reserved for you, those 6 slots.
Okay.
+1. So the +1 is in case it rains or it's life happens, you have to cancel. You
Okay.
have an extra slot reserved for you, but once you've used that extra slot, you're gonna have to wait to get back on the calendar to continue your training.
Okay.
Yeah, an hour a week.
Yeah, my only, because I wanted to work around, like we're going home for the holidays in December, so just want to make sure I can like get the sessions in.
Yeah, I think we're canceling all our training sessions in like the holidays as well in general.
Okay.
I believe so that might just happen.
Okay.
What else about in person? Did you want me to explain the board and training and daycare and train to you? Or
Yeah, because we do. I mean, I don't think I would do. Well, yeah, I'll hear about it.
So daycare and train, it's the same thing. You drop off Pepper as a
Yeah.
regular day of daycare, but we're just training her.
Okay.
So I would recommend either the 10-day program or the 15. So they go by bundles, 5, 10, 15, 20. The 10 and the 15 is more in your range. She will learn heel, stay, sit, down, come, place. All 6 commands on e-collar. Everything is recorded for you. So you're seeing how she's taken to the e-collar for the first time, how we work her through it, and how to practice. So you're seeing, you get 2 videos. The first video is an hour long. It's called the foundational training sessions. The second video is us advancing her to the long leash phase if you get the 10-day bundle. The 15-day bundle, we do another video for you where we transfer her obedience in the playpen with lots of dogs around her as the distractions. If you get the 10-day bundle, you get 3 hours of follow-up lessons so that we can transfer all the training to you. A common concern for daycare and board and train programs is that, yeah, the dog was great when the trainer was present, but then when the trainer left, the dog was like bad, whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with e-collar because let's say I'm working with her and I find out that my training number is 25. When you press a button on 25, it's still 25.
Yeah.
There's no she's stronger than him or he's stricter than her. There's none of that. It's just 25 is 25 for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's like another wonderful thing about e-collar. What else?
How does it, I guess, like with what you were saying before about if someone had to like not attend their lesson, you had to take over for the dog, like training the dog and then correct because they were different with you. Like, do you see that with like a board and train or like daycare and train where it's not as effective as like if I'm doing the training with her?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The only time that happens is when the dog has reactivity issues, because we'll get dogs here and the owner's like, this dog reacts to everything. They bark, they growl, they're crazy, and they're fine here.
Okay.
So like, there was one dog that came and just didn't bark at all. Like he never barked, and then the owner's like, he didn't bark once. I'm like, nope, didn't even make a sound. He didn't whine, he didn't growl. He was just hanging out. He was stressed, very stressed, but he was just like very just like, I don't want to be here. That's all.
Yeah.
And then we did the follow-up lesson, and that's when you saw him become very anxious, very reactive, and very just on edge. And I'm like, yeah, we've never even seen this. So, but we did all the hard work. We taught him with the e-collars. So all we had to do was transfer this to the behavior part, and it was very easy to calm him down in that within that session.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes certain things happen, but all we have to do is just work you through it. That's all we can.
Okay.
And usually it always works out at the end of the day.
So what do you think's more effective, like doing the one-on-one with me there or like doing the, like daycare and train, for example?
I think the one-on-one would be better for you just to learn like what does she do when she does this?
Yeah.
You'll see it because our lessons take place at Oz Park or Palmer. I think we're going to be moving to Palmer because we're not by the lake, so it's not going to be as cold, I think.
Okay.
Or we can do the in-facility, or we also do in-home. So these certain areas of Oz Park is great because of how many distractions and noises, and it's crazy there. Yeah. So if you can train your dog at Oz Park, technically you can train your dog anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I don't have that time, to meet the trainer once a week or whatever, then we can do daycare and train. That's fine. She'll still get her walks for exposure. There's the bridge right there. There's a train right here as well. So we'll take her training walks, kind of work her through that. So she'll still get that experience. What else? Any questions?
I'd probably do the one-on-one, just because I definitely want to learn too with her. I know you guys do like just supplementary to that. Like she does come for boarding and daycare. I know there was like, just add-ons for training there too. Is that something you recommend? Like, I think it was like 30-minute session or things like that. Just like if I do need to ever like board her and want her to like get some more exposure.
Yeah. You can do a training session or you can do a training walk.
Okay.
Now they're the same price or whatever. So if you buy let's say you buy I don't know if there's bundles of training sessions and training bundles. Training sessions and training walks as bundles, but I think they're the same price. So like you can buy like 5 and say like, hey, this is these 2 training walks, these 3 training sessions.
Okay.
And we can just start, taking on walks. We reinforce everything that we're teaching you on the in-person sessions.
Okay.
Is it needed? Not needed, but it's cool to do, just keep it up with it, especially with a different environment here with the training,
Yeah.
with the trains and the highway and everything, and the
Mhm.
bridge. So that's kind of just personal preference for you.
Okay. Makes sense.
What else? Any other questions?
In terms of like scheduling, do I just work with like the office manager on that? Yeah.
Yes. So after this consultation, my assistant Tina will be reaching out to you. She handles
Okay.
my calendar.
Okay.
So she'll send you all the information we talked about, the in-person programs, the prices, the
Okay.
daycare and training program and the prices, the e-collar I recommend for Pepper. And
Okay.
then if you haven't already, we updated our agreement form. So if you haven't signed that already, I think she would send it to you.
Okay.
Other than that, once you sign that updated agreement form, we can go ahead and begin billing and booking. And then from there, again, we work with your availability. So like, let's say, because there's certain days that I'm available and certain days I'm not, and there's certain days that I'm not available and then Jesse's available.
Okay.
So if it happens to be a day I'm not available, you can still train with Jesse, and the consultation fee will still go towards your program.
Okay.
What else? E-collar is, she'll provide you a link to Amazon,
Okay.
or you can purchase it yourself through us. We sell them as well. If you purchase it through us, you get 30 days. Within those 30 days, if it's like a malfunction, you give it back to us. We get it fixed. We borrow you a collar, and then we'll kind of work it out. After those 30 days, you would have to contact doctor yourself.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess just in the meantime, I know you said like just keep walking her for confidence. I'm sure this will all be corrected, I know, but like anything else in the meantime, like when she does the pancake arms and stuff like that, to just try to get her like past that point.
Yeah, I would definitely get a flat buckle collar. This is for training as well. Get a
Okay.
flat buckle collar, the one, not the snap ones, the ones that go through the loop and like you buckle it.
Okay.
So don't get the snap, the ones that like click together, because those will break.
Okay.
Or you can get like a slip leash. You don't need a prong. You can get a prong collar if you want, but like a slip leash or like a regular flat collar would work best in your favor. And for that flat collar, I know Roxy had this issue that her collar was too loose. So you want to make sure it's really fitted so that when she goes resists, she doesn't back out of the collar.
Yeah.
That's why slip leash is good, because if she backs out or pulls, it's going to tighten on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Getting pressure here, and she's not getting anything out of this, so she has to move forward.
Okay.
What else? And like you said, just keep moving forward for now.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. I had my full list of all my things about Pepper, but I think I just said all of them.
and when you another thing you mentioned was like you come home and then she's still kind of wild or still crazy, like she still has energy.
Yeah.
Called overstimulation. Overstimulation is also when she's doing the zigzagging. She doesn't know what to do. She's like, what's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? It's that will be addressed as well when we teach heal, because what's going on there is that she doesn't know what to do. So she's kind of all over the place. Once we give her a job and we tell her what to do, she's going to be a more calm dog. And when you come home, she's going to be more tired, because physically, yes, she may be exercising like now, but when we put training, it's going to be mental exercise as well. So she's going to be like 2 times more tired when she comes home. And because like I said, certain things will go away. So the jumping, like the I want to play, just might go away on its own, and we may not have to address that.
Okay.
So that's another thing I forgot to mention. Other than that,
the jumping up on people will typically be corrected too with that.
For Roxy, that was still an issue. It's just because she's so wiggly. So we kind of had to like make that a little, not a whole session, but like half a session on its own on how to address this. Like I said, we'll play it by ear. Maybe she does stop jumping, that'd be great. If not, we'll definitely work with that as well, the jumping. Anything else?
Do you ever see her like being able to be off leash in
It
a
depends.
non-invasive environment?
Yeah, it's up to her. Kind of how much progress you're making, how consistent everything is. But like I said, a dog, we've seen a similar case, a little more intense, and she's off leash now.
Yeah.
So
great.
it's possible, yes.
Okay, cool.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it for now.
I think I got everything. And if we do the 6-week, 2 classes heel, 2 classes recall, and then you have 2 classes left. We can do one in the home to kind of cover the guest entering and kind of teach her how to relax. And then your extra class, we can either do like an overview of everything, or what we like to do for our clients is tell them to like save that class until they need it.
Okay.
I think that's what Roxy did.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I feel like the home could be a good one.
Yeah, so that's how those 6 would be laid out. Again,
Yeah.
if you want more obedience, you wanted to lay down that move for an hour and just maybe a little bit more wiggle room with everything, then 9-week would be your next one up.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that was everything. So keep an eye out for Tina's follow-up email, and then after that, once you sign everything, we can go ahead and begin the billing and booking part of the program. And then if you have, go for it.
Just one last question on the excited piece. Is that like, you think aside from like trying not to greet her, something that is like trainable, or she may grow out of it?
How's her like potty schedule? Like how's potty training?
So she's very well potty trained. We have a bell by the door, and she needs the bell to go outside, and she has slept through the night since she was like a few months old. Like, she's pretty good at holding it, except for when she's like stimulated.
If you know someone's gonna come over, what I would do is like limit her water. So give her like water, like don't give her free water all day every day. I would just like give her some in the morning, and then wait until your guest comes over and see if that would work, and then take her out obviously before. Now your best thing is just to tell your guests to ignore them. I don't know if that's something that will just go away with e-collar training. I have to check. But we'll see. We'll see how the program works, and then because what can also fix this is the exercise we do in the home. The way it's laid out and everything is that she technically wouldn't. It may just not happen once we do this exercise, like when your guests enter. So that might fix it in a way. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else? All right. And then let me see. And then do you like going by Libby or Elizabeth? Just
Libby.
Sorry. Libby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Libby. It was very nice speaking with you. Like I said, nothing out of the ordinary for us. This is like an every other case type thing. And then the overstimulation is very common in the dogs that we work with. So that's nothing new as well. But other than that, keep an eye out for Tina's follow-up email, and then we will be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Enrique.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.